Welcome yet again to an episode of Do You Know? We're talking about the four warriors who stand in front of the cut in the Castle of Good Hope in Cape Town. And we've spoken about Doman, we've spoken about King Langa Libalele, we've spoken about King Cetswayo, and now the last one that we're going to address is King Tejuayo, the last king of the Zulus as a united nation. So let's hear what Sonwabile has to say. Sonwabile Maxebengula is again with me. He's a guide at the Castle of Good Hope. And I'm so glad to have you here again. So let's talk about King Cetswayo.
Yes, thank you once again, Mrs. Duplessis, and thank you for having me. And hello to the viewers. And I just wanted to add on what you just said. King Tejuayo was the last king of the United Zulu Kingdom before the late King Zwelithini.
Ah, right.
So, yes. King Tejuayo was the son of Mbande, and Mbande was the half brother of King Shaka. So he's actually is believed to be born in the 1820s or around the mid 1820s, and he is got onto a structured warriors when he came, because Shaka is already established as the Zulu Kingdom as warriors. So what had happened is this: when the frontier wars ended, the British moved further, because and then they were hoping to annex the whole of South Africa. At that moment, they actually were interested on the eastern coast. So now they were already conquered the what is now called the Eastern Cape partially, but not entirely. So then he moved into the territory of the Zulus. So what then happened? Tejuayo was aware, because there were scouts. He knew that these people were fighting the Xhosa-speaking people for over 100 years, the Xhosa-speaking people and the Khoi people for over 100 years. So now they were tapping on his territory. So what he actually sent troops to actually to divert them, not to actually to destroy them, to divert them off the territory of the Zulus. So the British expected the Zulus to arrive, because they also had scouts to arrive 2 days later, but the Zulus arrived 2 days earlier, and they marched over 200 kilometers in 2.5 days into an area, a mountain called Isandlwana. So on that battle, the Zulus were victorious in the Battle of Isandlwana, and they defeated the British. And it was actually the biggest. It is recorded, and one would argue, but it is recorded, or that it was the biggest loss of the Zulu army ever. So, or in African territories.
The biggest loss of the British or of the Zulus?
Of the British.
Of the British, yes, that's right. Isandlwana was.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. But one would argue as well, because there's a lot that happened during the frontier wars. But I don't want to
let's talk about King Cetswayo.
Yes, let's talk about King Cetswayo. And maybe we actually have the frontier wars for another Did You Know episodes. You never know.
Absolutely.
And it's a series, and it's about 19 of them that we can talk of. So the following battle happened in Rock's Rift, And then the British used a method that was made popular by the fort trekkers. So they actually would put wagons and as cover, and then the Zulu warriors would not be able to see where they are located, and then they would actually just shoot behind the wagons, of which the Zulus suffered a defeat there, and Tejuayo was then defeated in his homestead in Ondini, and he was shipped to the Cape with his 4 wives and entourage. And then he was imprisoned here at the castle. And with those kings, they were not detained as criminals, because he was given his room, and it was spacious, and the wives also had their own rooms, and he was actually allowed to walk on the ramparts of the castle, perhaps maybe to see what the British have achieved at the Cape. So to see that, and then and also to be exposed on thundering cannons to show that they were powerful. So because you learn that the British, they were not as violent and physical as the Portuguese or the French. The British were all of psychological in their approach, and so he was later exiled to actually to go to England to have some negotiations over the land in what is now called KwaZulu-Natal. And then whatever arrangement they'd agreed on, there he actually broke them when he got back into KwaZulu-Natal. And he said by fighting one of the British allies by the name of Zibebu, and he was later defeated in the Gandla forest, and that's where and then he later died in 1884. And as I always say, in life, there's always 3 sides of the story. My story, your story, and the truth. Because Zulu people believe that he was poisoned. And there are some from the British side say that he died of a heart attack, but I guess we just never know the truth. And I was actually I was moved by what Tejuayo stated when he was detained. And this is actually what most of the Zulu people don't know, but they use that idiom on a daily basis, because when people walk barefoot, they say "Sishaya iska Tejuayo." So we do Tejuayo's thing. So because this comes after when Tejuayo refused to wear shoes or to put on shoes, because he said that he wanted to feel the land he's fighting for beneath him, which is actually very deep.
Absolutely, yes. So let me just quickly summarize. So he fought in the battles, and then he was conquered, and he was then brought into the castle, and then after that he could go to England to actually try to negotiate something, and then he came back to KwaZulu-Natal, and then he died in the Nkandla forest.
It was actually defeated when he fought with Zimbabwe, because when he was in England, the British wanted to say that you can have your own people. This will be your land. This was going to be under our control, of which he actually disagreed with that. But he actually perhaps maybe had made he agreed when he was in England, but when he came back, he changed everything and started to attack the allies of the British.
Sure. Okay. So what can we take home about King Cetswayo? What is it that he teaches us?
With Tejuayo, as a people of color, we had always wanted to actually to protect our inheritance, our heritage, and also to preserve our color. So by him saying, okay, I have seen what you have done when you go southeast, but I don't want to bother you. I don't want to destroy you, because Tejuayo just wanted to divert them off his territory to protect the heritage of the Zulus. And I think this is what we must actually take from him, is that we must actually preserve and fight for our heritage. And now it's our shared heritage. And I would just like to tap back to what former President Thabo Mbeki stated during the adoption of our constitution in 1996, where he actually states the famous speech, "I am an African." I just want to quote from a part where he says that I am part of the European migrants who left Europe and found home in my land of birth. Whatever their actions might have been, they still form part of me. So, and also from what I stated before, that with Tejuayo saying that he actually wanted to feel the land he was fighting for beneath him. And when he was detained, and he befriended one of the soldiers who was responsible to look after him. And they built a relationship, and he also gave him a gift. So, and so he was willing to actually to share, but and also to make friends with his enemy then. So and that reminds me of a Madiba as well, which is the most recent one. So I think that sense of forgiveness and also wanting to share, because there's nothing we can do. We are all here in South Africa, and this is our home. Let's just live here together and share everything, and so that we can live in peace and harmony.
And we have a shared heritage, and that is what you brought closer to our hearts here again. And I really want to thank you for these 4 episodes about the warriors at the castle. Sonwabile, I am so thrilled that I learned about this. So thank you so much. And I hope that people will visit the castle more and then talk to you about these 4 warriors.
Yes, we are now. I'm currently trying to establish a new museum, a museum that actually focuses on our shared heritage. It's based on the people of South Africa. Who are we? Where we come from. So please make it a point that you visit the Castle of Good Hope. We operate from 9 o'clock up until 3:30 in the afternoon. Those are our adjusted COVID time, and all the COVID safety measures are in place. We have 3 museums and 4 exhibitions, which are located here inside the castle, and we have tours which are conducted by professional guided tours, tour guides rather. So please come and indulge on your heritage, because this is what we have inherited from our forefathers. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you and share this shared heritage and shared history. So thank you very much. Enkosi kakhulu. Baie dankie.
Baie dankie, Sonwabile. Thank you so much.